I'll try to be very brief because I know it's 5 o'clock. But I hope that this day has been as interesting and as useful for you as it has been for me. I think there's a number of interesting lessons that are reverberating through my own mind, and I certainly am not attempting to be comprehensive in this, but certainly some things that I am thinking about include some of the discussion that we had early in the morning where we saw some really dramatic potential savings of conservation and demand reduction. But we also see that with the projected population growth that the chances of that being able to offset completely growth in demand for domestic uses is going to be difficult at best. And also at best then we have a baseline which will leave us still subject to the problems of drought and potential shortages during drought. We also learned about the fact that that we really have a difficult time predicting whether a drought will be occurring, that we have substantial uncertainty in describing our climate, and that if we take as a goal what I heard of the ability to predict drought 12 to 18 months ahead of time, that even if we're successful in that, we have to recognize that that is not enough lead time to be able to respond, like Sydney, for example, with their hope of being able to build a desal plant just in time before the reservoir runs dry. I don't think a just-in-time inventory might work well for an automobile plant. It's not going to work well for Texas water. We saw certainly some issues of cost, some issues of how we might manage it better to make things work better, like right pricing water, allowing interbasin transfers, greater flexibility in groundwater, even understanding who owns the groundwater and how we might manage that better, understanding how to identify preferred uses over seniority for water rights. Those are all issues that are going to have to be wrestled with that will help. But then ultimately there still will be a gap, and we spent the afternoon talking about how we might manage that gap between demand and needs. And I think there was a lot of interesting discussion about potential technologies that might be applicable, but certainly we saw a continuing theme of more reuse and more desal, either coastal or inland. And there's certainly some technological challenges, some research needed to make full use of that and to ultimately convince the public that, for example, as we move from indirect to direct reuse, that is a good thing and it will work for us. So there are certainly some questions to think about. I think that I was also struck, we were talking just a few moments ago about educating the public, and that is certainly an issue, but I'm also was really interested in the questions from many of the water professionals in the room of other water professionals. And it looked to me like there was a need to continue to have a forum where there was an ability to exchange of people that are intimately associated with water, what other people are doing, what other organizations, what other agencies might be doing. I've just found that a number of individuals here today were certainly not aware of everything that was going on, and everyone seemed to be learning from that. And so I'd like to propose that we at least informally try to organize a group, perhaps something like that drought steering committee, which was a group of individuals looking at the drought issues, the supply issues. Perhaps doing the same thing with this water management, how we, perhaps a Texas water management work group, an informal group to continue to exchange information and build on the lessons from today. So I've talked to Robert Mason, Texas Water Development Board, about that as to whether they could play a key role in trying to help organize that, and certainly our own activities. I would hope by the Planning Committee as well as our Center for Research and Water Resources would be interested in participating in that as well, to continue an exchange and a dialogue and passing lessons learned between the practitioners, the regulators, as well as the technology developers and users. Well, with that, I hope again that it was of use to you to spend the day. I certainly enjoyed the opportunity to learn what everyone is doing relative to water. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your attendance.